Good day, my name is Jacob Lockwood and I invented the lock harness. When you first receive the lock harness, this is pretty much how you're going to see it. You've got your two buckles, the female ends just at the bottom sticking out, and then the clip chest strap holding it all in place together. So to unravel it, all you're simply going to do is unclip, grab hold of the female ends at the bottom and throw it out. And once it's come out on the floor, you just straighten everything out. Open out the shoulder straps and the two top straps. It's very important you bring them out from inside the shoulder straps. So you've got it all nice and laid out there, everything straight. That's now ready to use. First thing we're going to go through is the known parts before we then move on further to its usage. Starting from top to bottom, you've got the shoulder straps and top carry handles. You've then got the chest strap to fasten. You then got the top straps with the male end of the buckle. Moving further down, you've got the main body of the stretcher where the casualty is held. You then got the centre crossover loop, which depending on which version of the lock harness you have, you find it underneath. Flipping over, you've got the bottom carry handles on either side. And then you've got the bottom straps along the bottom of the length with the female buckles on each side. Also, the hand loops on either side. Thank you very much. What we'll move on to now is some usage. What we're going through now is the 2 and 4 man use of the stretcher. So the first part is preparation. The long bottom straps will pass through the centre loop and then laid out flat, ready to put the casualty onto the stretcher, like you'll see now. At this point, the stretcher is prepared, ready to place the casualty onto the stretcher. Now this can be done in 2 ways. You can pick the casualty up and lay them on top of it, or you can roll them over, place the stretcher underneath, roll them back over and retrieve the straps from either side. Point to note is the nape of the neck, roughly here, will be laid along here, so when the casualty is being carried, his head is supported and he's not flapping around, which could then cause further injury, like so. So now, top straps are going to be passed over the casualty's shoulder and attached across the body with the bottom strap, holding their arms in a tight position across their body and keeping them secure in the stretcher, like we've seen now. At this point, the casualty is now prepared, ready to be picked up. So using the shoulder straps and the bottom straps, we'll then pick them up and start extracting the casualty. So as they're moving along now, you can see it's a 2-person casualty carry. If you then wanted to move it to a 4-person casualty carry, 2 more people will come in and take the front straps. At this point, you can then carry on the 4-man casualty carry. You hold it there, lay it down. Multiple things can happen at this point. You can then change over the casualty quite easily, swapping over the front and back straps. So you can use less people to extract the casualty, and you can keep doing the changeovers on the move instead of having to place them down in conventional stretchers that we see. Now we're going to go through the single use of the lock harness. First thing that's going to happen concurrently at the casualty being dealt with by the first members of the patrol. The man who's going to be carrying will pick up the lock harness and don it over his shoulders using the shoulder straps, and then bend over waiting ready to receive, like so. At this point now, the other members of the patrol are going to put the casualty onto the carrier's back, feeding the shoulder straps over his shoulders, making sure verbally communicating with the carrier, making sure he's got hold of the straps. They're then going to do the point check, making sure it's nicely around his arse, and then clipping up the clips and assisting, like so. As you can see now, as the casualty's going over, the assistants are passing the shoulder straps over the top, making sure that both straps are going over the shoulders nicely and it won't slip on the casualty once he's then being extracted.
Tighten. Tighten there, mud.
At this point, before the carrier stands up, he's going to grab hold of the straps around his neck and pulling them out as he stands up and the weight is being taken by the harness. He can then now extract with the casualty's single man, increasing the firepower and survivability of the whole patrol. What we're going to go through next is swapping over the casualty to another carrier in the single man use. So the first stage of this, the carrier will bend over and undo the cross straps across his chest, down to his side, almost in a backpack-like position, so he can then take the casualty off his back. Go through that now. At this point, before he stands up, another assistant is going to come in from the patrol, take the full weight of the casualty as the carrier stands up, so he can then remove himself from the harness, like so.
Yep.
At this point, the next man is going to come in. Then with assistance going to bend over and get the weight over his back so the straps can be crossed over his chest. Going through the final checks, shoulders, arse and legs. He's then going to stand up, removing the straps from across his neck. He can then continue on like so. You've then done the change around from the single man onto another soldier in the patrol. Sometimes a situation may arise where you don't have the assistance of other people to help you get one casualty into the lock harness by yourself. So what you're going to see demonstrated now is the method used to get the casualty onto the stretcher and on your back completely unaided. The first thing he's doing then is putting the stretcher face up onto the casualty itself, and he's going to flip him over, feeding the rest of the harness underneath him. Now the long straps he's going to put up either side of his neck and then flip him back over, so he's got them ready to attach on the other side. Now as you saw in the previous video where you were switching the casualty from one person to another, you do the straps in a backpack like position so you can then get him onto your back and roll over. You can see now he's checking he's got the armholes ready to put on and roll over onto him. He's now going to lay down next to the casualty, attaching both the straps in. At this point he's going to make sure all the straps are in place. He's going to rift him over so he's on his front with the casualty laid on his back. As you can see, it's not a pretty motion. The checks that he's doing now is making sure the straps are over both of the casualty's shoulders, so when he picks them up, he's not going to fall out. across the straps, across his chest, like seen before. He's going to be feeling behind his arse to make sure the stretcher is nicely lined up on the casualty's backside as best he can. Again, you can now extract them by yourself, completely unaided with anyone else. So now once you've finished using the lock harness, clearly on the ground for ease of speed, you can just bundle it all up and chuck it into a pouch or into a day sack. But once you've finished and you want to package it up nicely, ready to be used again, you're going to do a few things and then we're just going to go through that now. So the main points on these top straps, you need to make sure that the floppy end meets nicely with the stretcher's length there. Now we've got that, all we're going to do is fold everything over quite nicely, and I'll show you this now. So putting the top straps, lining them up with the edge of the stretcher here. And then the shoulder straps, fold them over again. And when you're folding, you want to start from the side with the male chest strap first. You just roll it together over on itself. About halfway down, you'll see where the fold is, and that'll come over. So once you've got two folds, you're going to look for this male chest strap on this side. Bring that side over and back out again. And then what we need here is this female end to be sticking out of one side. And once you've got that, you're just going to work it all the way down. So you've got something looking a little bit like that. And at this point, it doesn't necessarily matter how big of a fold that you can do. You can do it quite small or you can do it quite long, depending on the size of the pouch that you're going to be putting it in. And then what we've got here, we've got a male chest strap and female clip on the other side. Make sure that they're both sticking out of either side, not both out the same side. And as I'm moving along, I'm just refolding everything up as I'm going. And when we get to about this stage, you've got your last little fold going over. Make sure both of the bottom straps nice and straight, and it just goes around, and at the very end you'll simply bring the male female clip together, tighten it up, and that's ready to go into a pouch or anywhere you want to store it.